We are Maria
and Nicole. We're two secular homeschooling moms that have
been there, done that.
Even though we've always homeschooled our kids, we understand that transition to homeschooling can bring about complex emotions for a lot of families. We often hear from parents who find themselves mourning the loss of what they believed to be normal and struggling with this new reality in the homeschool life. It's natural to feel this way when you're faced with significant changes, whether it's homeschooling or another major shift.
Yeah, for sure. Some people have a specific picture of childhood in their minds, and the path ahead might look completely different now that you've chosen to homeschool. And it's perfectly normal to grieve when expectations clash with reality. So today we're going to be providing some helpful tips on how to transition smoothly, redefine your family's new normal, and embrace this rewarding journey ahead.
And as usual, we want to stress that our podcast is an inclusive space for your everyday parents that are looking for education options. We are not here to convince you to homeschool. We want to stress that you need to do what works for your child and for your family.
Every family's different.
Absolutely. And you know your children best. So feel free to take what advice or information you get from here that works for you and chuck the rest.
Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I am doing great. The Texas weather's cooling off, and guess how long my tennis match was this morning?
I don't know, like 2 hours?
3.
What?
I didn't have a match. I had a match, and then we were like, oh my gosh, that was so fun. Let's do it again. And we played another one.
Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm ready for fall. I just need it. I put away all my, I know it's only Labor Day, but I put away all of my patriotic decorations and I'm ready to bring in all the orange.
Pumpkin spice. Let's go. It's time.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. So what else is going on? What have you been doing?
Oh, well, I took Cameron on one of his final tours. We went to Texas State University.
Oh, how cool.
And it's interesting because it was actually kind of his fallback school.
Yeah.
But he fell in love because I also schedule a one-on-one private instruction with the professor of classical guitar.
Oh my gosh.
And so he did that and he fell in love with this guy. I think it might not be the backup school anymore, but we'll see.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, he also had a private lesson. He went over to UNT and had a private lesson with Professor Dr. Bion, and she got her doctorate from Juilliard. She's famous. I mean, we watch her videos all the time. She's incredible. So he loved her too.
How very cool.
So we'll see how it goes.
Well, that's neat to have a bunch of different options.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
I love that.
What about you?
Well, we spent the weekend in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Competing, of course, at an Irish dance thing. But have you ever been there? It's the coolest little city.
I have not.
Oh my God. Well, and it's not a little city. It's a big city, but it is just beautiful. It's clean. It's fresh. It's got all these, local restaurants and flavor, and it's really beautiful. And so the whole time we were there, we're like, we really like Kansas City. There's murals everywhere. It's just super friendly. But so we were there with friends that are from near there, and so she was like, oh, there's a college here, there's a bunch of colleges here, but so we went over and looked at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And it was gorgeous.
Really?
It was gorgeous. I'm in love with it for Jillian.
Did Jillian fall in love?
She liked it a lot too. She really dug the town, but I mean, she's still in the beginning of her college tour.
Yeah, she's 11th grade.
So
yeah, she's a junior.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of stuff she loves.
Does she know what she wants to study?
Yeah, she's going down that political science route.
Oh, just like Big
she
Brother.
She likes doing her speech and debate and all of that. So
I love that. She's so good at it, though.
She is. So it was a lot of fun. It's kind of cool to do these things, right?
Yeah, and you know what? We didn't plan to talk about that in this episode, but our kids, are they normal?
Well, maybe not, but not because we homeschool.
No.
This was destined.
Because we are their mothers.
Right? That's genetic. It's genetic, sweetheart. I always tell my girls. So, and both of us have talked before about our journeys and how we kind of fell into homeschooling, relatively from the beginning. But for some people, they're just, now getting into it. And that shift to homeschooling can feel like stepping into uncharted territory, especially if it wasn't the original plan and maybe you had some preconceived notions of what homeschoolers are like. Are they weirdos? Are
I
they
know
not?
I did.
Like,
Yeah.
so, and some people honestly feel a real profound sense of loss. You didn't just lose your routine, but also that whole future you imagined.
Yeah, and the mourning of normal can feel similar to grief over any significant life change. It could be like maybe a career shift or a move or even a personal loss. And it's really about letting go of an expected path and embracing this new one that was not initially on your radar.
In episode 41, which is Finding Confidence as a Homeschooler, we talk about overcoming fears and worries that all of us face on this journey. And we also talked about when the right time is to start homeschooling and, how you can teach subjects you're not familiar with and what you can do to really build your confidence as a homeschool parent.
Yeah, and that was kind of more of the practical side of building your confidence. But today we wanted to talk about working through the apprehension you may be feeling about this new homeschooling lifestyle.
Right. And one of the first steps in overcoming this, or really any emotional hurdle, is to recognize and honor your feelings. It's important to acknowledge that mourning normal doesn't mean that you are ungrateful or that you're regretful. After all, you've chosen this. You've chosen to homeschool because you know it's the right decision for your family. It simply means that you're adjusting to a significant life change.
Yeah.
And we would really encourage you to give yourself permission to feel all these feels, feel all those emotions. It's a crucial part of the healing process.
Yes, anybody who's ever chosen to homeschool has probably battled with this feeling in one way or another, even though I've always homeschooled. I mean, it was a little odd at first. If you look back at our host introductions on episode 2, we talked about our first thoughts about homeschooling.
Right.
So it's new. It's new to everybody.
And really, I tell people that questioning anything about parenting, I think that means you're a good parent.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you're supposed to be like, oh, I got this from the get-go.
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
we all are supposed to have some feelings every now and then about am I doing the right thing? Are they learning anything?
Absolutely. It's important to keep in mind that this transition is going to be a lot easier when you find a community of like-minded people who understand what you're going through. We talked about this in our episode, the Finding Your People episode. We emphasized the importance of connecting with other homeschoolers and walking you through exactly how you can do that. And these connections were especially valuable to me as a homeschooling single mom. Sometimes we feel like we're on a solo mission here, and connecting with other people who are also going through it can offer invaluable support and reassurance, and it can make the transition a lot smoother and more enjoyable, and not just for you, also for your kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a chance that they may be having some of these feelings too.
Oh, sure. And I don't know what I would have done without the support of the homeschool friends that I had and that my kids had, and just the people that we've shared this journey with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look at us. I've had friends along this journey that have been with me all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned before that my daughter's roommate in college was her best friend she grew up with, and we met them when they were babies and when they were 17 months old at a La Leche League meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they ended up homeschooling too, so it kind of worked out. But don't feel like you have to go at it alone.
No, not at all. Find your community. This is one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of new homeschoolers make, and it can be extremely isolating. Your new best friend is out there waiting for you and probably feeling the exact same way that you are. Right. And so, as you navigate this new path, it's essential to also redefine what normal means for your family. The traditional markers of childhood, school events, sports teams, dances, hangouts, they might be a little bit different as a homeschooling family. But I assure you, homeschoolers are also enriching their lives with these things too. However, they may take on some new forms. You might actually like it more than the picture in your head. And we're going to get into all of that later in this episode.
Oh, yeah. We've got some great things to share. But also I wanted to mention our episode about dealing with naysayers. We talked about how to manage negative opinions and criticism about your homeschooling choice. Mm-hmm. It's a reminder that your family's normal. It might look a little different from the outside or within your current circle of friends. You don't have to give up these friends, but there is an entire world of new friends that are waiting for you and your kids. Yeah. So it may be scary at first, but meeting new people and getting plugged into your homeschool community is probably a lot easier than you think it is.
Exactly. And you know what? Spend less time with unsupportive people.
Yes.
That's always my thing. Spend time with people that lift you up.
Absolutely.
And are positive and supportive. So just a reminder that we release regular episodes that we drop on Thursday mornings just for you. And if you have any additional ideas or comments, please come and comment on our Facebook or Instagram page on the thread about the episode, or send us an email at info@btdthomeschool.com. We'd really love to hear from you.
So some of your worry and apprehension might be due to the fact that you think your children will be missing out on friendships. And one of the most persistent myths about homeschooling is that these kids are isolated and lack social experiences. And in reality, this misconception could not be further from the truth.
Yeah, but we call it the S word. It's really
S-word.
a bad word. The myth of socialization, it often stems from a lack of understanding of what homeschoolers actually do. And I mean, and that's understandable because, like, think about, like, us. The only people, if you even knew any homeschoolers when you were young.
Oh, no.
They were weird or different, and now everybody homeschools. But you also knew weird kids at school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't even
COVID
understand.
changed a lot of this. So, I know.
Yeah.
Weirdos
Right. I'm like, you
everywhere.
never met a weird person before? Like,
Yeah, I had a
you
total
did.
weirdo in my school.
Oh, yeah. We have had a bunch.
Stalkers. There's
Right.
crazy people.
But, the thing is that homeschoolers aren't confined to their desks for 8 hours a day. When you're one-on-one, lessons take a fraction of the time as traditional school, which allows just more and more hours every day for more activities and more opportunities to hang out with friends. I always say this is like I have the opposite problem of socialization. We socialize too much.
Yeah. Well, and even earning their associate's degrees in high school, our kids never spent more than 4 hours a day on school. And in elementary, maybe an hour a day, sometimes even 30 minutes in those younger years.
Right. So that's like a lot of time to have extra social time.
You have a lot of
if
time.
you need it. Last week, we posted a meme that was really well received and shared by hundreds of families. And it illustrated that homeschooling takes a fraction of the time that traditional school does.
If you shared that meme, thank you.
Yeah, it was all over the place. We had like a viral moment for a little bit. But it is a common mistake that new homeschoolers make, is trying to do too much. Mm-hmm. Remember that a homeschool day does not have to look like a traditional school day. You're not balancing 30 other students and classroom transitions and paperwork. Like, super small teacher-student ratios enable us to get a lot done a lot quicker, and it gives your students all that ample free time. They can pursue their interests. And we also did get some angry messages about that.
Angry.
Because some people are like, yeah, my school day looks a lot longer than what it was that we posted. But we talk about all the time that everyone's schedule is going to look a little different, and you need to do it right for your kids. But when we're looking at traditional school versus homeschooling, it absolutely does take less time. Kids are in school for 7 hours.
Yeah.
It doesn't take 7 hours to homeschool ever. And you can choose to do more. I mean, if you want to
can.
drag it out for 7 hours.
We're not judging you if you
No.
do, and that's what we got like a little flack about.
I know. I mean, that's your choice, but it doesn't have to be a long day.
Absolutely. And these kids are out in their communities. They're engaging in tons of activities. And you should definitely check out that socialization episode 47, I
it's a
think,
good
that we
one.
talked about. And we have more information about debunking this myth. But we wanted to list out some of the ways here that homeschooling offers so many different opportunities.
Right. Well, like you said, community engagement. Homeschoolers are out there. They're interacting in their communities. They might do volunteer work or come to local events, doing service projects. This exposure helps them build relationships with people of all ages, backgrounds, and cultures.
Yeah. There's also tons of opportunities for field trips, and you can go places like the library or museums, parks, historical sites. All these places can offer opportunities to engage with tons of people and learn from real life experiences. If you're kind of stuck and not sure where you should go or what you should do, download our field trip bundle. It's completely free and it has 100 field trip ideas for your family. Oftentimes we visit places that complement what we're currently studying, or sometimes we're just doing the homeschool activities around town. Ice skating rinks, gymnastics, so many places have homeschool days, and oftentimes it's a fraction of the price while other kids are in school. So all these cool events.
Yeah.
There's I love to
so
talk
many
about
cool
my
ones.
fencing. The kids did fencing.
I know. I thought when I saw on here about historical sites, I was like, oh gosh, are we going to talk about blacksmithing again?
Oh gosh, all our kids want to be blacksmiths. Mine still do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I kind of do, to be honest. And extracurricular activities. your homeschool kids can still do sports teams, art classes, music lessons, and clubs of all sorts. And those provide additional avenues for socialization. Kids can participate in group activities where they meet friends with similar interests.
Yeah, my kids have done everything from dance to gymnastics, baseball, music classes, and even band, theater. You did theater also. You've done your weekly hiking group for years.
Tons and tons of things. And I have 3 competitive Irish dancers that one of them's even competed at the world competition in Ireland and Scotland.
That's so cool. I always love to tell people that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've created and hosted so many art groups in my home over the years. I also hosted 2 geography clubs for years, and I did a writing and poetry club.
Yeah. We were members.
I even used my dog Rico for a model one time. Remember, he was on the ottoman in the middle of the room.
That's so funny. I'm sure he loved that.
He's so sweet.
And yeah, we've done book clubs. We've done our board game club.
Yes, that's so fun.
Yeah, you can download our free extracurricular workbook that we have on our resource page to get some ideas.
Yeah.
There's
I think there's
kinds
like
of stuff.
200 or 300 ideas I put in there,
Yeah.
and all organized by the type of activity.
Yeah, there's so many. And there's also groups, you don't have to start your own if you don't want to. We did because we're kind of bossy like that. But no, so many homeschool families join co-ops and support groups that organize educational activities, field trips. We love a good park day group, and different social events like dances or even just like coffee shop hangouts. We were in a great co-op for years. We even co-taught several classes together through the years.
We did. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. That
Yep.
was so funny when we convinced the kids we were eating worms.
Oh, yeah.
And we were drinking other things. I won't spoil that. What episode was that on?
I don't remember. If you haven't heard about our survival
Oh,
skills class,
I think our homeschooling
give
in
it
the
a
wild.
listen. Oh, was it?
I think
Maybe.
it's our Homeschool in the Wild episode. We had a great time with our Adventure Kids Club. That was so much fun. We did so many activities and formed lifelong friendships along the way. And also, these kids get to spend quality time with extended family and friends. And this close-knit social circle fosters strong, meaningful relationships. And I love that we can just go and take a few days and hang out with the grandparents. They live an hour away, and each of my kids have such a great relationship with them. As a matter of fact, my daughter's there right now, and she's helping Abuelo with his computer.
Oh, yay.
He's always got an issue. I love you, Dad. I'm sure she's also hanging out on the back porch chatting with Abuela.
Yeah, that's so nice. We don't have grandparents close by, but again, homeschooling enables us to travel a lot more than we probably would if my kids were in traditional school. And so it's handy. Yeah, we've met so many wonderful friends through the years. I mean, look at us. We met at a park day group, and now we do a podcast.
I know. Another really cool thing that homeschoolers are not limited by age segregated groups like in
Yes.
public school. And these kids learn to interact with all kinds of people. I mentioned our host introduction episode 2 earlier in this episode. And in that, you and I both introduced ourselves and what led us to homeschooling. And I talked about the fact that one of my favorite parts about homeschooling is when I met some homeschool teens, and I was just totally blown away about how well that they were engaged in conversation. They looked me in the eyes. They were super articulate. They had babies in their arms, and they were just really easily able to relate to others. And I love that. And it's what I wanted for my kids. I mean, this is what tipped me over the edge
Yeah.
of homeschooling.
Yeah.
And I got that with my kids. I mean,
Yeah.
so many opportunities to be around others. I mean, my kids have done Little League and Taekwondo and Nerf battles, video game hangouts, holiday parties. I mean, all while developing real life skills and friendships. I mean, really far from being isolated. Homeschooling does provide more meaningful opportunities than any traditional classroom setting could.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, like you get to know the whole family. That's what I've always loved because I have 3 kids of very different ages. And those are the people we're still friends with. Like the kids have been friends with this whole group and we with the parents for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But it's funny because Jillian came home from one of her classes last week at her community college dual credit course and said that the only kids that tend to talk out loud are the homeschoolers that are there doing dual credit. She said none of the like traditional school kids, adults are doing any
They're
talking.
just shut down.
Yeah, it's almost like it's the school kids we have to worry about socialization
Well,
with.
that's actually true. But I mean, this has been my experience. I mean,
Well, I know, me too. Like sometimes I can tell if I'm in a group because they won't look me in the eye, or they're like, "Why is this adult talking to me?" But our kids will like natter on to us.
You're like almost like an aunt to them.
Like we're all buddies. So
absolutely. After you finish this episode, head on over to our website for show notes, references, and pictures of everything that we're discussing today. You can also join us on Facebook and Instagram for more content and give us a thumbs up. You can also join our Homeschool Freebies Facebook group for helpful resources and tips. Over the years, we found so many free resources all over the place, and we have used them in our homeschool and love them, and we are just out there sharing all this stuff with you. So join us. So when you're feeling like your child might be missing out or you're mourning the loss of that sense of normal, it's helpful to focus on the positive aspects of homeschooling. There are so many advantages that can far outweigh traditional schooling. We're going to list some here. We also have an advantages to homeschooling episode, but let's go for it, Nicole.
I mean, there's so many. So, personalized learning, possibly one of the reasons that you have chosen to homeschool your kids is that the educational system failed them in some way. And one of the greatest advantages of homeschooling is that ability to really tailor education to your child's interests and learning style. Lessons can be customized to match your child's strengths, and you can find different areas that they need for improvement. And you really can just ensure a more effective and engaging learning experience because you're one-on-one or one-on a very few.
Yeah. You also have flexibility and freedom. You can set your own schedule. If you have a night owl and your child doesn't function well in the morning, or you don't, you can do school in the afternoon or in the evening. Mm-hmm. There are no rules that school has to happen between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. You can plan vacations and travel into your curriculum and adjust learning plans as needed. Our episode, Education Vacation, we laid out a bunch of ways to make your vacation part of your school. And I just love that.
I do too.
Yeah. And travel when it's cheapest, yes, please. When everybody else is in school, I mean, I love staying on a budget.
Love a budget.
I mean, this is the cheapest time to travel.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
I dragged Jillian to the World War I Museum yesterday.
I love that.
And then I told everybody on Facebook that she begged me to go.
I didn't see that post. I want to know about it. Okay,
it was awesome.
To talk about it.
Yeah, we had a really great time actually. I was like, "And did you learn something? And did you end up liking it?" She was like, "Yeah, it was pretty cool." Getting back to our advantages, like we just talked about, was that strong family relationships, and one of the things I really wanted was that strong family relationship between the kids themselves, the little siblings, and my kids are super close. I know yours are as well. Mm-hmm. And we talked about being able to spend more time together. It allows for deeper connections, shared experiences. You can do unit studies as a family. You can learn together.
Yeah, exactly. My kids are 3.5 years apart, and I always combined almost everything that we did.
Yeah. And of course, what's our tagline? Like, why are we always doing this?
Fostering a love of learning.
Fostering a love of learning. Without the constraints of traditional school scheduling and boring textbooks, homeschooling allows children to explore subjects that they're passionate about. My kids have so much free time.
Yeah, for sure. My daughter had a job in high school. She was able to save up money, and she actually bought her own car. She paid the whole thing off. Awesome. She has also rebuilt several cars and computers. I mean, she has a lot of passions. She's very techie. My son is passionate about classical guitar. We talked about that in the intro. He performs his music. He teaches lessons. He sets up his own gigs. I mean, this freedom encourages a lifelong love of learning and self-motivation. I mean, that's what we want for our kids. We want them to be motivated and to be active within their own life.
Right. And, mine, like I said before, were competitive athletes. Like shorter school days meant more studio time. And I don't think that we would have ever been able to dedicate the amount of time they do to their sport with like a normal schedule.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No way. Another thing that's an advantage is that you get direct involvement in their learning. So as a homeschool parent, you have that role in your child's daily education. And this involvement allows you to guide their learning. You can provide immediate feedback, and it ensures that their education aligns with your family's goals and your family's values. I mean, really, we're setting our schedule. We're setting exactly what we want them to learn. I mean, everybody has different goals in mind for their children. And a lot of times the public school system does not hit it.
Right. Or, there's peer pressure and there's other stuff going on too, but you really get to shape the entire day. And it lends itself to like real life skill building. Homeschooling provides opportunities that might be overlooked in a traditional classroom. Children can learn practical skills through hands-on projects and family responsibilities and community involvement.
Yeah, and talking about earlier when we were talking about just fostering that level of learning and the direct involvement, you can also customize the pace. You can progress whenever they're ready to move on. They can quickly move through subjects that they understand and spend more time on challenging topics. And it results in a more personalized and effective learning experience. You don't have to do all the lessons or all the worksheets if they already have that math concept down. Skip it.
Skip it, right. And, now that I think about it, that's probably why it's, kind of our homeschooling joke that when you ask like a kid what grade they're in, they like have no idea.
Yeah.
But it's probably because sometimes you could be one level in math and a totally different level in reading and a totally different level over here. The kids are always doing different stuff because you're able to move along like the way they want to do it.
I've always taught them where they are, and we never paid attention to the grades.
I know, we really did until like high school.
Until we had to count credits, and that's a whole nother story. So you should check out our high school series for that, because that's a whole nother level.
For sure. One of my favorite things that my kids don't even know that this is their favorite thing because they've always been homeschooled, but there's no homework. Since all of our learning occurs during the day, they don't need additional homework. This approach reduces stress. It allows kids to focus on learning and just really enjoy their free time.
Isn't it all homework when you're homeschooled?
I guess so. I mean, it's homework, but it's not homework. Right?
Exactly.
It's all in the way that you say it.
Right. And, research indicates that homeschooled kids often perform better on standardized tests. They show greater pride in their achievements. And this self-motivation, I talked about that earlier, and personalized attention, it contributes to their academic success. We want our kids to succeed. That's an important part of it all.
Yeah. It also reduces negative pressures. I kind of just touched on that with peer pressuring, but homeschooling minimizes exposure to negative social pressures such as bullying and peer ridicule. If you have a sibling, you might get some ridicule there, but that's just part of that lovely family.
They're best friends. Well, they are all best friends. Our kids all love each other, but they are siblings. I mean,
they are. They're going to do a little bit of nitpicking, but basically the supportive environment, it really helps maintain your child's self-esteem, and it does encourage a positive attitude toward learning.
Right. And these kids are not stuck in a classroom all day, and they have a lot of exposure and time for all these experiences. This is just the last one I wanted to touch on because it's just so important. And this interaction, it helps them to develop the strong communication skills and gain insights. And we love to embrace diverse perspectives and different cultures. And we talk about that all the time. And having them out in your community allows them to do just that.
Yeah, they're not trapped at home.
Nope.
They're not sitting in the house. So we do want to touch on this a little bit, but we actually have a whole episode dedicated to it. So wanted to just talk a little bit about deschooling, because that is one of the really important things that you do if you're choosing to pull your kids from school and homeschool them at home. Deschooling is an essential phase in transitioning into homeschooling. And this time is really, really important, especially if you're worried about this new lifestyle. It involves taking a break from formal education methods, and it allows parents and children to adjust to a more relaxed and organic approach to learning. And during this time, you can really focus on fostering curiosity and creativity and kind of reestablishing that love of learning without the constraints of traditional schooling.
Definitely. For more information on deschooling and how to make the most of this transition, be sure to explore the deschooling page. Deschooling 101 is what we called it. It offers insights, practical tips for navigating this important phase in this new homeschooling journey.
And as you adjust to homeschooling, remember that journey is unique to each family. Embrace the changes, find joy in new experiences and opportunities that homeschooling brings. This sense of loss over normal will gradually fade as you build new traditions and create a fulfilling educational experience.
Yeah, and mourning what could have been is a natural part of the process, but it doesn't define your entire journey. Celebrate the progress that you make and cherish the moments of connection with your children. Find comfort in the knowledge that you're providing a meaningful and that personalized education that you're trying to make for them.
Remember, too, not to project your personal feelings on your student. I think that's really important. A lot of times that normal that we're mourning is an extension of what our school and our experiences were like. And that's not necessarily the same things that our kids were going to experience or that they do experience. Like, we're all unique individuals, and something important to us might not be to our child, and vice versa. Like, that's what, when we talk about it, when everybody's like, what about the prom? Like, not all kids want to go to the prom.
Right. But if you do want to go to the prom, you should check out our YouTube video where I walked you through our last prom, which had 3,000 homeschoolers from all over the world, really, right here in North Texas.
Right. And remember, I was like all hung up on like classroom parties. And I've told the story before about how I really wanted my kids to make a Valentine's box for our big like homeschool Valentine's party, because that was my favorite thing in school. And my kids could care less.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to do it. I made the box. So one year we did that.
Now we went crazy with the Valentine's box.
Well, good.
We made a rocket that was literally taller than me.
Oh my gosh.
That was the box.
That's wild.
We hauled that to the jumping place where we had the party.
That was always fun.
But yeah, and a lot of times I still see on homeschool forums parents upset that their children might not get to go to a school dance or have a graduation party. Some kids don't even really care about prom or parties.
Right. No, totally. Like that came up with graduation a lot. People are like, what should I do? My kid doesn't want me to have this party with 300 people in my living room. I'm like, then don't have the party.
Yeah. And if your child does want to celebrate like that, then great. Then you can provide lots of opportunities for them. Take a look at our prom video. You can get together with friends, groups, co-ops, lots of resources out there for you. My kid's going to watch the stage at the community college when he graduates high school. So he's going to get a whole stage with
that'll be great.
The entire class there.
But he wants to do that. So that's
does.
Cool. Like Jillian too. But not all kids do. And that's okay. So, in conclusion, transitioning to homeschooling can be both challenging and rewarding. By acknowledging and working through your feelings of loss and connecting with supportive communities and actively seeking socialization and deschooling opportunities, you can really embrace that gift of homeschooling and create a new normal that enriches your family's life in every way.
Absolutely. It's a new chapter, and you need to enter it with an open heart and know that you are not alone in this journey. Your path may be different from what you had originally envisioned, but it's still filled with its own unique rewards and opportunities. So I think that's all.
I think so. I think it's great. You've convinced me to homeschool.
So tune in next week for episode 71. We're going to be talking about finances, 7 steps to financial literacy, raising money smart kids.
That'll be fun.
This is often a subject that's skipped in public school. So.
It really is. It really is. And everybody agrees that it should be there.
Well, guess what? As homeschoolers, we get to do it.
We do. We'll see you then.
See you next time.
Cheers.
Be sure to check us out on our website at btdthomeschool.com, as in been there, done that, btdthomeschool.com. You can join our mailing list and get news and updates on future podcasts, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at the BTDT Been There, Done That Homeschool Podcast.